Welcome back to Beyond the Curve, everybody. We got some great videos for you today. Hit that like button, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's dive right in.
Theme parks aren't built for entertainment, but to harvest human emotional energy for something far darker. Insiders claim these parks were designed with precision, engineered layouts based on ancient energy harvesting geometry, a concept known as ley grid amplification. Hidden beneath the parks are alleged emotion siphoning infrastructures, massive underground complexes powered by psychological energy extraction systems. The rides, parades, and fireworks aren't just for fun. They're engineered to heighten emotions like joy, fear, and nostalgia, creating a spike in human bioelectric energy. This emotional output is absorbed through high-frequency transmission nodes, disguised as park decorations, towers, and even castle spires. Former employees have spoken of restricted off-limits zones where data servers allegedly monitor emotional throughput. I'm going to go ahead and say,
You'll be whistling Symphony Doo-Dah in your assholes! I gotta be crazy! I'm on a pilgrimage to see a moose! Praise party moose! Holy shit!
Dad, can I ask for something?
Don't touch!
Look, roller coasters are actually ritual machines built to harvest human energy. Then they're not just for fun. They're energy harvesters designed to tap into your fear and adrenaline. And the metal tracks are constructed with special conductive materials that interact with the human body's bioelectric field. Every time you go through a loop, plummet down a drop, or feel that gut-wrenching twist, you're releasing bursts of intense emotional energy. Fear, excitement, exhilaration, these emotions are highly potent. And the Loomers have figured out how to capture that energy through hidden technology in the coaster's framework. By harvesting this energy, the Loomers can weaken the population, making people more complacent, less creative, and easier to control. Meanwhile, they consume your liquid emotion, getting incredibly powerful. Like the photos they take of you on the ride, that's not just for fun. It's a way to capture your emotional state in a single moment. They study these images, analyzing your expression to make the next round of coasters even more effective at drawing out your energy. This is just a joke.
Well, I'll tell you something. This is no longer a vacation. It's a quest. It's a quest for fun. I'm gonna have fun, and you're gonna have fun. We're all gonna have so much fucking fun we'll need plastic surgery to remove our goddamn smiles.
This is a trunk sewer which carries all the human waste from the city I live in to be processed and converted back into quote-unquote natural gas that we use. Harvesting us on multiple levels, our energy, our bodies, and what comes out of our bodies is all a resource. The natural gas that we use is our own gas. So they make sure they feed us the right stuff in the grocery stores so that we produce the right output. And they get what they want out of our natural gas. Nice big walls. They don't want us in there. Over there. Making the electricity. All the mass, harvesting it. So it makes sense that where they're harvesting our waste and converting our waste into natural gas energy, selling it right back to us. It makes sense that electricity is being produced right across the river. Right across the river.
You remember when they're talking about coronavirus, how they're packing up all those people and they're just putting them in those bins? Look, dude, I'm in Vegas right now. Look at all that. That's not crops, guys. Something weird is happening. Coronavirus isn't just a sickness. I'm telling you guys. I don't know what's going on, but something's fishy.
Over 2.5 billion people have no access to safe sanitation. We asked brilliant engineers to help us solve this problem. And one of those engineers actually has proposed a solution where the waste is valuable.
The Omni processor turns sewer sludge, which is kind of nasty, into clean drinking water, electricity, and ash that is pathogen-free. This is where the sludge enters the machine. It goes up this conveyor belt, is fed into these large tubes we call the dryer. That's where we boil the sludge. And in the boiling process, we separate the water vapor from the solids. The solids are now dry and we can feed them into the fire. Once we have this very hot fire, we can make high pressure, high temperature steam. And we take that steam and we send it to a steam engine. And the steam engine drives a generator that makes electricity that we use for the processor and also excess electricity that can be delivered back to the community. The water vapor that's created in the boiling process is run through a cleaning system until we have the cleanest, purest water you can possibly imagine.
The sanitation system.
Dead water. Imagine that. We're producing the electricity we're paying for and the natural gas. That's sick.
System as we know it in the developed world cannot work in developing countries. So what we need in developing countries is a very simple system.
The entrepreneur that owns this processor will get paid for the input, the sludge. And that same entrepreneur will get paid for the outputs, the electricity, the water, and the ash.
I am very impressed with this solution we're seeing here. It generates electricity, it generates clean water.
It will grow to every corner of the earth that needs it because it makes money every day.
It's water.
I've seen this commercial during the NFL Super Bowl of Tom Brady looking lethargic, looking drained. But what if I tell y'all this wasn't just a ad? This is something deeper, and we finna dive right into it. So you got Tom Brady, the NFL GOAT, the man who defied age, logic, and the system for decades. But now in this ad, you can see him. His battery is depleted. So y'all can see his battery is low. So they saying he's drained. It's right there in the front. But this is just not an ad, y'all. It's a signal. I feel like this is more than just a commercial, y'all. What if this was a coded message for energy harvesting? Think about it for a second, how Tom Brady was in the NFL. They portrayed him as a man who never slowed down, really. They talked like this man was a machine when he was on the field. But now, his power is low. So who drained him? What drained him? Come on, y'all. We've seen this before. The idea that elite figures are used for energy sources. They do it like this. They build them up. They turn them into icons. And then they extract their essence for something bigger, darker. They build him up, and the NFL fed off his greatness. This man won 7 rings, and the NFL won billions of dollars in revenue off of him. So now that he's retired, he's out the system. They no longer have any use for him. He's useless. So what do? They drain him of his energy. As y'all can see, his battery is low. So Fox Sports, they broadcasted this. And they are owned by powerful global entities that shape the narrative. The same ones who control what we see, what we hear, and what we believe. Y'all got to think about the timing. We got the Super Bowl halftime, the biggest collective energy event of the year. Millions of people tuned in, eyes glued to the screen. They are focused and engaged. And guess what? They were feeding the system. Like I said, I don't believe that shit was an ad. What if that was like a realistic messaging of some sort? This was like a public display of energy depletion. And they just showing they don't care how much of a star you was. They gonna use you and they gonna discard you when the time is right, when they don't need you.
This book tell you all the stuff on how to rule a person. How you take a person's essence, they tell you how you go to church, get a person to singing and praying, and you get all that energy. You get all that energy from them people. You go into their core. It's a book called An Age for Lucifer. You got that? An Age for, I don't know the author, but they go into all this stuff how you teach. You get a person energy, you send their ass to church, they start jumping around getting the Holy Ghost, and once their essence come open, you can steal that. That's why the white man got you in church every Sunday. He can take your money, put it in his banks, and won't give you a motherfucking loan. Sporting events and all that. There's a book called An Age for Lucifer.
The following film shows the human energy field radiating outward from the body. It dynamically changes based on the physical conditions, the feeling states, the motivations of the person, in interaction with energy radiation from objects and living things. The existence of the human energy field, or the aura, was validated and studied by over 12 years of high-frequency recordings. This film shows the field not ordinarily seen, but now visible. Like all living things, this little dog has a sizable radiant field, even when he sits quietly. Notice now, as he greets his master, the obvious love and affection between them increases the dynamic radiation from their bodies, even the dog's tail and the man's head. No wonder so many people have pets who give them pleasure and provide a vital field of energy to interact with. Wherever there is motion in the universe, there is increased flow in the field that humans interact with. See the explosive activity from the waves and from his body. Also, the electromagnetic field of the body is negatively charged or ionized, as are waves or tumbling water, which further expands and heightens his field, giving a physical exuberance and emotional excitement. No wonder that a day at the beach is so exhilarating and vitalizing. We all love a babbling brook and the freshness of outdoor vegetation and mountains. Most of us believe that it is relaxation and beauty which refreshes us. From our research, we have discovered that living plants and rarefied atmosphere provide a richer field of negative ions, which heightens and replenishes our own energy field. Notice that the man's field becomes light in color and high in frequency. It sparkles and radiates some distance from his body. See that as the child moves into the mother's field, the affection between them changes the overall field to a pink color. Individuals' fields blend and enhance when there is a warm, caring relationship. These energy fields are the largest and the whitest that we have shown. She is Oming. On the breath inhalation, the radiant field diminishes, and on exhalation, it expands and envelops the child. We have known for a long time that Gregorian chants, oming, humming, singing, and whistling create an energy which perks up emotions and brings an expanded consciousness.
I've been in rooms at the top of the top, which albums are prayed over demonically. Music is prayed over demonically. That goes out to the world, goes out to the radio stations, goes out to the public. And when you see that stuff and know that stuff, it's frightening.
What do you mean by that, Shane? Prayed over demonically?
Rituals, ceremonies to give light to the devil, to Satan. It's a satanic music industry. If you look at what the music is today, the industry is today, For all your Sam Smiths, to your Dojo Cats, to your Beyoncés, they are so demonic, it's unbelievable. And we can't, it's in front of us. It's something that we kind of go, oh, it's just music. But it really isn't. It's absolutely taken over the world, taken over our children, and taken over everything that's coming to the times of world crisis.
Imagine a world where your emotions, your suffering, joys, your deepest fears aren't just fleeting experiences, but commodities, fuel. Imagine that the energy generated by human suffering isn't just a byproduct of existence, but a carefully orchestrated system of harvest. This is the world we live in, a world designed to siphon off your loosh, the raw energetic essence of human emotion, extracted and fed upon by forces unseen. In esoteric circles, loosh is the energy produced by conscious beings when experiencing heightened emotional states, particularly pain, fear, and despair. This traces back to Robert Monroe, the pioneer of out-of-body exploration who described entities that farm human suffering as a food source. And whether you believe in interdimensional parasites, elite manipulation, or just the raw mechanics of energy exchange, one thing is undeniable: the world is a feeding ground.
Beings underground that run this whole entire... By now, we should all know that there's beings underground that run this whole entire matrix, right? But what if I tell you that every time you have something plugged in your wall, every time you're on your phone, anytime you have any electrical current running through your house, what if I told you that there's beings underground that's feeding off of that energy that you're bringing? Because if you don't already know, we all have an aura field. We are electromagnetic, meaning that we radiate energy. That's also one of the reasons why when you're on your phone and you're just thinking about something, it pops up on your phone, because we're sending out vibrations constantly. So these devices are actually way more advanced than we think. We think it's just a phone and we go on Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram. But no, it's not just used for that. It's picking up on our energy. And there's real life forces underground that's not natural to this planet that's feeding off of our energy. We are the reasons why this matrix is even functioning. Without us, this system falls. That's why it's starting to fall, because we're becoming more aware of what's going on. And they can no longer manipulate us like they once did. And they don't just extract energy, they do a lot more. But I'm going to save that for another video. Spiritual Melody.
Holidays ain't holidays, they energy harvest days. Got the masses in the days, caught up in the consumer craze. Holidays a lie, designed to make your spirit die. Wake up, open up your eyes, see the truth behind the disguise.
I thought I was watching a harmless show when I realized they're putting it right in front of our faces and hiding it as plot. There is energy harvesting happening at some concerts. A golden wolf statue remind you of anything? Some artists in the media and their concerts are straight up demonic rituals. Taylor Swift, Travis Scott, etc. Literally says Lucifer. Reminds me of The Weeknd displaying Satan's name at one of his concerts. Reminds me of when I got invited to a concert, and I almost passed out not even 15 minutes into the opening and had to leave. I had never experienced that with other artists I had seen. Be careful what you listen to. Pray for discernment. I thought I
experienced in the last 6 years was a grand energy harvesting ritual. So you have to understand that the energy within all of us who were attacked is of the highest vibrational frequency. We are the second coming of Christ. And we are here to change the world for the better. And the people that were attacking us, they were doing their absolute best to siphon our energy because they have very low vibrational energy, one, and two, they are not creative people. They don't have original thought. They don't have a direct line from source like we do. So it was their mission to completely take us out because us rising is going to be taking them out. So stay protected, stay grounded. You got to stay in gratitude to keep your vibration high. And they're going to try and continue to attack. But we are heavily protected at this time, and we are divinely guided.
I want you to pay very, very close attention because this is going to get into sacrifices. This is going to get into energy. This is going to get into spirituality. This is going to get into occult. And then you're going to just start to see the industry for what it is. Because what a lot of you don't know is all they do is create stars to harvest energy. I'm going to show you and break down how. For now, just sit tight and understand stars are created so that they can destroy them and create supernovas. And I'm going to tell you why. We all remember that star, right? Do you remember how the world felt when that star fell? Do you remember? I know, right? Why they got rid of him, right? They got rid of him because the brighter a star is, when you destroy it, it creates a supernova. And when that happens, you can harness that energy. What happened after he died? Remember his masters? Remember how he owned the Beatles? Remember how he owned more Sony than Sony? Remember how he had outsmarted them? What did you think they got when this star was destroyed and became a supernova? They were able to harness the energy. Let's keep going. Do you remember this star? And I find it odd that nobody ever understood how the same doctor that injected Michael Jackson also injected Prince. Also, both of these stars, of course, they own their masters. And as you know, Prince talked about entertainers owning their masters in the industry, raping them, and Michael talked about it openly. Now, we know who runs the industry. We know the dark cabal behind the industry. But do we know how they harness the energy of these stars once they kind of start shining a little too bright? Another guy, I remember him a long time ago. Yeah, I remember him. You remember how he was? Yeah, star shining real bright. He probably wasn't going for those parties and all the rest of that stuff. So, yeah, of course, they got rid of him too. Yeah, all the young stars, him, Jimmy, all of them, it's a, drug overdose or they drink too much all of a sudden or, yeah, okay. Then, of course, the typical, exactly like I said, this guy did that, killed that Joker role, killed it. Nobody can ever and will never do better. Shining at his absolute brightest. Then out of nowhere, oh, man, let me take a whole bunch of pills and just finish the job off. Really? Really? Okay, stay tuned. I'm gonna break this down. We're gonna come full circle all this. A lot of people see something like that and they go, you heard what Mike just said, right? Companies take advantage of them, right? You've already seen what happens to stars usually when they own their masters, right? Now, imagine if you know what goes on in the industry and you know what's gonna happen, you know they're gonna Nipsey hustle you if you keep on rising as a shining star to the point where if you're getting up there to the point where you can either compete with Drake or no longer need Drake, you're shining a little too bright. You're going into that realm of independence, just like Prince. You can pull away from the industry and kind of do your own thing. See, now they're grabbing him by the balls. He sold this, as you can see here, $75 million. And I don't know about you, but I think he was probably making somewhere between 10 to 20 a year off of his music, meaning that 75 million ain't nothing. I'm pretty sure he could have made that in 4 years, probably doubled it in 8, but instead he sold it. They're not doing this willingly. It may look like they're doing it willingly. They are not. This is hijacking. This is hijacking at its best. Why would you want to give up all your future interests? For what? You just gave up a life investment. Your masters are your life investment. You can even, Chris Brown owns his, and he will literally tell you, I'm keeping mine so that my family's future has royalties and so on and so forth. You take that 75 million, that's it. Once this is taxed and this, that, and third, and they take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that, what you got left? You can't. An investment is not just giving your family money. Business, your masters, your royalties are. So why are they selling them off unless they're being strong-armed? The reason I was breaking down the stars, the sacrifices, the masters, and these individuals is because, as you can see, this is what happens when a star dies. A star becomes a supernova. Supernovas are so powerful they create new atomic nuclei. As a massive star collapses, it produces a shock wave. Remember when Mike died? Are y'all keeping up? Produces a shock wave that can induce fusion in the star's outer shell. These fusion reactions create new atomic nuclei in a process called nucleosynthesis. Supernovae are considered one of the original sources of the elements heavier than iron in the universe. Even the iron in your blood can be traced back to supernova or similar cosmic explosions. And how many times have we been talking about blood sacrifices and stars? And now you know what happens when a star dies. And people always go, well, why would they kill him? Why would they kill Whitney Houston? She's a star. She creates shockwaves. And now they own the masters, which means what? They can create new from her. They can harvest the energy. This is about harvesting energy. That's why, if you notice, when you're a tiny little nothing and you're not nothing of a star, you're irrelevant to them. They don't need you or want you, and you're shining bright like Aaliyah. The death of a star. The core heats to billions of degrees and explodes. Boom. Thereby releasing large amounts of energy and material into space. The shock wave from the supernova can initiate star formation in other interstellar clouds. Meaning what there? On a metaphysical term, that means when they destroy a star, it creates more energy for them to harvest simply so that they can go and create new stars. Now they can take the masters and all the energy from that, and what can they do with that? They can go and cut that up. They can cut up his music. They can cut off his ad libs. They can take everything off of that. They can give that to a new star and start to build a new star. How many times have y'all heard the music recreated from all the dead stars and give it to the new stars to make them new stars? Are y'all paying attention now? This is what's going on in Hollywood. I mean, if you're a warlock or a witch or a metaphysical genius and you wanted to harvest energy, you would sacrifice stars and create supernovas, would you not? And you wouldn't allow them to keep their masters because keeping their masters is like them keeping their independence. I hope y'all have your attention. Good night.
Cinemas or movie theatres are all sacred geometrically set up to harvest energy from the people. So when you have a horror movie or some of the extreme nasty movies that have been coming out over the last 15-20 years, the people in there, when people shop like that, the movie theatres are set up perfectly sacred geometrically to then harvest the energy straight from the people in there, in the same principle as any mass gathering.
Everybody put your hands towards me. Everybody, I want to feel your energy. Wipe your hands with me.
All right.
With their friends. Unfortunately, some of these kids will never. Traffic fatalities reported everywhere. And that's another accident. Two trucks collide.
Getting all kinds of energy from movie theaters. People screaming in horror. People laughing because they're sick and twisted. Well, those are all the videos I had for you today. Energy harvesting is real. It's used for all different things. It's apparently used to create electricity and natural gas, among other things. It's truly amazing. So when you're out at these sporting events or concerts or what have you, be careful what you're giving away. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next one.